You're listening to Backstage Leadership Conversations, brought to you by the Digital Tourism Think Tank, in collaboration with Abu Dhabi's Department of Culture and Tourism. I'm Nick Hall, and I'll be your host for the series. So join me as I take a global view on the exciting trends and developments happening in the MICE sector, with a multitude of truly insightful leadership conversations from truly global perspectives, all recorded right here in Abu Dhabi. Throughout this series, we'll be discussing sustainability, events for impact, horizon technologies, and considering the implications for business events and the wider sector. So if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, be sure to do so now, wherever you get your podcasts. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Derar Almanaseer, the Strategy and Sustainability Director at ADNEC Group. Derar brings over 20 years of strategic experience and has been a significant part of ADNEC's transformation and sustainability journey. In our conversation, Derar will delve into the evolution of ADNEC Group, detailing how the company has grown from a government organization to an investment-driven business with a diverse portfolio. He will also share insights into the global trends shaping the industry, the importance of sustainable events, and the role of technology and AI in reducing carbon emissions. You'll also hear about the strategic importance of ESG metrics and how they guide investment decisions and competitiveness. Whether you're deeply involved in the event sector or simply interested in sustainability and strategic growth, Derar's insights will provide valuable takeaways. So get ready for an interesting discussion as we dive into the future of events.
Okay, Derar Almanaseer. I'm the Strategy and Sustainability Director at ADNEC Group, a strategist with an overall experience of more than 20 years. I came for the first time to UAE in 2008 and joined my current job, ADNEC, in 2011. It has been a journey because I witnessed the shift from being a pure governmental organization reporting to the central government and now being under ADQ, an investment-driven type of business. It's a nice shift. In addition to the global trends, amongst them the sustainability shift globally. So it has been up until now, it has been really a very, very nice journey.
Now, give our listeners a bit of context about ADNEC. What does ADNEC do?
Okay, ADNEC Group, it's a business that consists of 7 clusters. We own venues. For example, the one in Abu Dhabi, ADNEC The Center and Excel London. We own hotels, so we are hotel owners and soon will become hotel operators as well. We have an organizing team to organize business, so we own specific events which are hosted by our venues, so we organize them ourselves, so we are an organizer and a venue. Plus, we provide through another vertical venue-related services. In addition to that, we are very big in the catering business. So we are one of the big names in the UAE and soon, inshallah, in GCC when it comes to F&B services. So we are the exclusive caterer of Etihad Airways, for example. And we have a huge capacity to cater for events, airline, special contracts, etc., etc. And the 7th cluster is the media cluster. So basically, we own assets such as offices designated for media-related organizations, entities, in addition to film shooting studios. And this, as you can see, it's a diverse business. Maybe 70 to 80% of it is related to the tourism sector. And it is an investment-driven type of business. So we focus on organically grow the business, but also through mergers, acquisitions, and strategic investment decisions also to grow the business substantially.
So it's a hugely transversal business working across many, many sectors.
Yes, yes.
Obviously, your roots are in the MICE sector. So tell us where you see the changes happening right now.
I mean, the MICE sector is really the closest to our hearts, because originally, if you look at Law 18/2005, which was the law that established ADNEC, it was all about exhibitions, conferences, and events. But then the group evolved, or ADNEC evolved to the existing group that I just described. Events is an interesting industry because from asset point of view, it is described as, heavy asset driven type of business. You have like venues, halls, so you need to fill them with people and you need to connect people. So it's an interesting type of business because it depends a lot on the social element of connecting people, but also you have to provide them with the content. And that's why sustainable events not always achieved easily, because you need to have a very attractive content that make it worth for people to travel and to see each other. And that's part of the challenge. On top of that, now we are surrounded by positive, I will call it positive pressures from mega trends such as sustainability, because we want to continue delivering this, but in a sustainable way. And sometimes sustainable way means in one form to reduce the travel. So this is like a challenge, and we need to balance, because we can, in my view, we can reach sustainable events and continue travel at the same time. And we can discuss this later if it's part of this conversation.
So, yeah, exactly. I think, we're seeing right now such a huge focus on sustainability, such an urgency to do that. How do you kind of turn around an industry that, as you say yourself, has these large spaces to fill? It's quite consumption driven. How do we turn that around so that we create both meaningful impact through the events, but also we reduce our impact in how we deliver those events?
Correct. I mean, the size is against us, but also is favoring us, because, for example, the venue consumes a lot of energy to operate. And this means a lot of emissions. So basically, this is a negative way to look at it. But if you apply certain technology platforms and apply the applications of AI, for example, it will help you to massively reduce your emissions. So the change also will be huge in terms of become more greener. So from this point, it's really challenging, but at the same time rewarding type of business. Just on a side note, and I think it's very relevant to this conversation. Originally, we committed to be part of the net zero events journey. But then as a group, we looked at it and we felt that we have so many verticals. And to be honest with you, events is part of it. So let's pressure ourselves and do the right thing. So now we are committed as ADNEC Group to be part of the net zero. And the starting point was to measure our baseline. So rather than focusing only on our events and our venues, now we extend this to the hotels, to the catering business, to the media, etc., etc. And we hired a specialized company to build our baseline. Capturing the baseline and know exactly where we are now, by itself, it took like 3 months, because we had to do it properly. And we had to follow the GHG global protocol for greenhouse emissions. And we had to learn at the same time. So we did it. And I can give you, for example, a number. Our emissions as a group, including all our investments, even outside UAE, is around 90,000 tons of emissions per year. And starting from now, we started to think about the reduction journey. We don't want to offset. Offset is something good. Carbon offsetting is something good. But we want to do carbon reduction. We want to go to the source of the emissions and think about reducing the emissions. So we started with the big assets. So we started with our venues. And I'm happy to share now that we already signed a contract with Siemens to provide us with AI-driven building management system that will massively help us to be efficient in operating our venue. Just to give you an idea, 52% of our venue emissions comes from the energy consumption, whether this is for the cooling or for the power. So accordingly, having an AI-driven system to manage that asset efficiently is really a game changer for us. So we promised our CEO, if we put this investment in terms of buying this technology, we will pay back in 3 years in terms of saving in our electricity bill. So he's counting since yesterday. He's counting. So he's expecting this to happen. But this is a very good demonstration that being sustainable 10 years ago used to be looked at a luxury to have, something adjacent to your strategy. It's something you do it for PR purposes or to show that you are good. Now, with the technology, it's becoming like a topic on the agenda of our board of directors, our executive committee, our CEO, not only because they feel this is the right thing to do from ethical point of view, but because from operational efficiency point of view, it became also a very good way to reduce and optimize your costs. And I think with the advancement of technologies and innovation, people like us, sustainability advocates and champions and change agents, now the conversation relatively is easier than 10 years ago.
It's really exciting to hear about how technology is coming in as something that can create those transformations, but also how the business case is shifting. It's a topic that reaches the boardroom.
Yes.
It's something that is people are passionate and interested in. And if you work in the right way, there's also the economical benefits, I guess, not only in the operations, but also in competitiveness.
Correct.
What are you seeing when you also look at the market and what people are looking for and what they're expecting from you?
No, interesting question, because we have done a very detailed ESG strategy, and part of our ESG strategy, it focuses on the risks and how you convert them into opportunities. So if we take only one dimension, which is carbon emissions, let's take it for the sake of example. The risk, if you are not adopting the best practices and be part of this journey, you will be left out in terms of bidding process, in terms of customer preferences. We already started to feel the heat and receive from a lot of clients who are aware and more into the environment. They want to deal only with venues who have they share these values with them. So it will, if you don't adopt the right practices, it will limit our ability to compete. Not only that, we expect, after this is like rumors, but we expect that soon in UAE, even though that this is a country considered, I think, 5th or 6th in terms of oil production, but there will be a carbon tax, which means you will be penalized if you don't. So convert all of these risks into opportunities. If you comply with the GHG protocol, if you apply the right things, not only you will gain good reputation and image from ethical point of view, and you will be a good example for everybody and an employer of choice, you will gain also financially because of efficiencies and the things that I just mentioned. On top of that, it will open for you not only the ability to compete, not only to be among the approved green list, let's call it, in terms of the eye of customers, but also it will open for us something called green capital. There are globally trending a lot of funds. They only finance either green initiatives, or let's put it in a sustainable, not only green, let's call it sustainable initiatives, or organizations that are described as more sustainable compared to others. So that is a massive opportunity for us, and we want to open the door for those funds, because that will help me to grow as well.
It's really interesting to look at it not only from the point of view of competitiveness, which I think is something that we're all becoming more and more familiar with, but also capital and raising that absolutely most fundamental part of building, which is the investment. And as you point out there, this is now becoming a prerequisite.
And now this is also goes back to the point. Now it's an easier conversation with management. Now it's an agenda item on the board of directors, because every single agile board, they feel it globally and they want to discuss it, because they think if we don't discuss it and if we don't include it as part of our roadmap, we will be left behind. And I think now it's the time for us, sustainability people, strategists, to capitalize on the moment. You have technology from one hand, make it easier for you, less or more affordable compared to previous, and you can be quicker in adoption. That's one dimension. The other dimension, the ecosystem is pressuring leaders to think this way, and this will make the decisions easier. On top of that, globally, there are like customer preferences going with that direction, funds allocated for that direction. So all of this help you to make the change happening faster than before.
The demand is very clear, but I want to just move to your own passion, because you talked about being a change agent, and we all have that capability to drive change. Where does your own passion and drive for this come from?
So when you mean my passion as Derar or as ADNEC?
As Derar.
Okay, I started as a strategist, so we were focusing, as you know, on the classic way of strategy management. But then in 2016, I have been exposed to something, and especially in UAE, future foresight. In the future foresight, it widened my understanding to the business and to the ecosystem, because we were asked to look 20 years ahead. And we did a very interesting exercise to identify the mega trends that can shape the future of organizations and completely disrupt them. And that happened before the pandemic. But it was coming from business drivers, mega trends related to technology, customer behavior, demographics, etc., etc. And I felt while we were scanning the mega trends, one of them was sustainability and more environmentally sustainable organization. So how this will be more embedded into the values of organization, into the DNA of an organization, into the offering of the organization. In 2016, to be honest with you, we touched it, but it wasn't as real as now. Now, I think with the momentum that we are gaining, and in 2021, another thing helped me to be more passionate about it, the conversation that we started to have with our owners, because they are our shareholders, they are investment-driven organizations, so they care a lot about ESG rating. Because for investors, ESG rating and your risks score basically either give them confidence in you as a business or give them a negative signal to stay away from investing in your business. So it came originally from investors' attractiveness point of view, but while I started to dig deeper in the requirement of ESG, I found out, to be honest with you, there are very good fundamentals and principles and requirements, not because you want to be attractive in the eye of investors. It's good to be seen by everybody. And that is why, for example, Abu Dhabi Police, they are going and they are launching a project to get an ESG score. But in fact, they are not part of the investment ecosystem. But they found it as a very good model that balances the environmental requirements with the social requirements, with the commercial governance types, financial requirements in a very synchronized way. And to be honest with you, I found it, up until now, I found it a very nice model to be adopted. The more I read about it, the more I get involved in it in different shapes and forms, the more I love it. And that gives me the passion that you see now.
Amazing. You mentioned futures foresight. I think that's very interesting that you bring that up as a method, as a process. How do you think we can spread and share these more creative and softer skills and techniques that help us to explore some of these challenges where the solutions maybe aren't yet defined? We've heard a lot about that during the Business Events Forum here in Abu Dhabi, and it seems like these are skills that we need to embed much more deeply throughout the sector.
I think it's always difficult to speak about the future because it will require that the audience and also the provider to project the future to the current moment. And I think that is the challenge when we do some kind of people development or some kind of human resource readiness, is to anticipate the future and try to educate yourself about what is coming and to work on it now. But it is happening. So one way could be is always repeat this exercise of mega trend analysis, future foresight analysis, and then cascade it down into your, for example, in our case, human capital unit. And accordingly, we come up with our roadmap from human development point of view. What will be the skills of the future? And I think during the last 1 or 2 years, I heard this so many ways, in whether it's online or in a physical event. What are the skill set of the future? What are the jobs that will be created? What are the jobs that will disappear, etc., etc. So it's a part of education, awareness, make sure you are ready, and educate yourself, and then reflect this into the people development plans. And when I say people development plans, it could be applied for an organization like ADNEC, where we have 5,000 to 6,000 employees, or it could be an individual plan, how Derar wants to improve himself and be ready for the future. So it goes at the individual level or corporate level. But you need to do this homework, whether you are an organization or an individual.
So it needs to happen at every single level.
I think so, yeah. And if it doesn't happen naturally, it will happen in a reactive way soon. maybe because of a requirement or a law or a policy or a need or an outdated CV, etc., etc. So it will happen sooner or later. But the ones, whether they are organizations or people who will benefit more, are the one who will be at the ahead of the curve. The people who will adopt these principles at the right time, and now is the right time, I think.
So if we want to win this race, we need to get right out in front and lead the change.
Exactly.
Derar, thank you very much for taking the time to sit with me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
In this episode, we journeyed through the transformational shifts within the ADNEC Group, as shared by Derar Almanaseer. We've seen how sustainable practices are not only essential, but also financially beneficial, spurred by technological advancements like AI-driven energy management systems. Derar's passion for sustainability was ignited by future foresight and has been driven by the increasing importance of ESG ratings, emphasizing the crucial balance between environmental responsibility and business efficiency. We also delved into the diverse opportunities of the ADNEC Group, from venue management to catering, and how these sectors are woven together by a strong focus on sustainability and strategic growth. Derar highlighted the necessity of staying ahead in the competitive market by adopting sustainable practices, which are now integral to customer preferences and investment opportunities. So what are the key takeaways? Well, it's clear that the future of business is deeply intertwined with sustainability and innovation. And as Derar puts it, staying ahead of the curve is key. The skills and proactive approaches we develop now are what will prepare us and our organizations for the inevitable changes and opportunities that lie ahead. You've been listening to Backstage Leadership Conversations. Be sure to hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. If you're enjoying the series, why not take a moment to leave a review or get in touch and let us know what you think. Discover more industry insights by heading over to our website, thinkdigital.travel, where you'll find lots more interviews, podcasts, case studies, and industry research, all at the click of a button. Thanks to the Abu Dhabi Department of Culture and Tourism for making this possible, and thank you for joining us today.